The European Atlantic has a surprising amount of diversity, and a lot of them are migratory, so there is a lot of transboundary movements.
So that means if you need to do management, you need to talk to other countries. So, and it's the European Union, a lot of it. The European Union has one way of dealing with fisheries, other countries have other ways. So I think something like this, it gives science a place to bring their results, to discuss, to make change, but it also gives policymakers a chance to look at different areas. I think it's really valuable.
We are in a part of the world where the countries have used the sea for several centuries intensively. We do know that centuries ago we had the species that occur in masses that we cannot even imagine anymore.
What this workshop is about is to gather the available information in support of these areas, because you need to apply objective criteria, and you need to make sure that the data supports the designation of these areas and even the boundaries of these areas.
And there are some forgotten species that through this process we can just try and uncover lots of different data sources to still try and consider them in our process.
There's a lot of laws where sharks have not been really the focus of, and having those maps hopefully finally gives sharks a voice and a seat on the table of area-based conservation.
Normally we want to create more NPAs, that if you cannot provide scientific or important data to support this, they remain in a paper. So in this case, I think that the ISRAs will be super important to support this conservation.
Having these areas mapped can then be used in different ways. You can engage the public, have signage on the beach explain this is an area that is really important because it has this critical habitat. So that can create some pride by people living in that area and that willingness to protect the area because it's so special.
They can be presented to decision makers, to managers, and tell them where the most important spots are, which of these are inside reserves, which are not, and give them ideas for where to place marine reserves or fisheries controls in the future.
It would also help for researchers to look for funds, to have more research in this area, but it's also highlighting the area where we are missing information, but we potentially know that this is of interest, but that not missing the ISRA criteria.
What we're doing right now is with the Dutch government and actually the entirety of the EU working on a species action plan for taupe shark. And because it's a migratory species, you can't put like a fence on all the water where they swim. So we're trying to find the areas that are very important to protect. But what we don't have right now is those areas, and that's why the ISRA process is so important.
Also hand in hand with other megafauna such as cetaceans and marine turtles. They use the open ocean in the same way like oceanic sharks and rays, and putting this all together into one picture will be the game changer to say here are the blue corridors in the open ocean and we need to protect to keep the oceans healthy because they all have a vital role.
Come prepared to analyze your data maybe in a different way than you looked at it before, because the criteria are really strict. Know who to ask questions. Even the people who are not here can still contribute.
We hope to contribute for these proposals.
We've been in contact with several scientists based in Ireland, working with us live and giving us new information, and also in contact with recreational fishers, divers who have provided video and photographs. So it's a great way to gather information from loads of different sources.
It's a data-driven approach, but the diversity of data that goes into it is amazing because a long time series of scientific abundance data. You can amend this data with, if you have tagging data, like movement patterns of individual sharks, also include like social media, like photographs. And if you like overlay this, may help you in further refine such areas.
I work with data from projects that we have carried out in our area, big projects as well, like in the mares, Ecomar. Also, I have data from our surveys every year in the north of Spain, and data from fisheries as well.
For Cape Verde, we are using every kind of information we found. We are a group that's a lot of NGOs, a lot of institutions that are working together. This information we brought here to make these ISRAs, it's from these whole NGOs, and also with acoustic tagging information, roof, citizen information. I have information from dive centers and a lot of expedition data.
Engage with everyone far and wide in your region early. You might just have 2 tag returns from a certain area, but actually the magic is in that collaborative power. Somebody else has another 2 or 3, and suddenly you find that actually you have something to work with.
Because of that collaboration, we were able to map some interesting areas in Portugal, and we hope that with more collaboration to come, we are able to map future areas of interest for sharks, rays, and chimaeras.
First, focus only on your area, like a national approach to it, and then zoom out a little bit and see the region in a wider context. And then sometimes you realize, maybe my area is not that important in a wider context, but sometimes you also realize, maybe my area is really important because there's nothing close by for that species.
Laten we de haaienroggen op de kaart zetten.
Pon el angelote en el mapa.
Colocar raia de Cabo Verde no mapa.
Zet haaien op de kaart.
Pon las lijas en el mapa.
Pon tus mantelinas en el mapa.
Mach den Heringshai auf die Karte.
Coloque os tubarões de profundidade no mapa.
Ajoutez les requins taupes sur la carte.
Setz den Schwarzkinn-Geigenrochen auf die Karte.
Put your skates on the map.
Ok. Põe tubarões e raias no mapa.
Cur Shirkana Aaron Leirskol.
Put sharks on the map.
Put taupe sharks on the map.
Bringt mehr Hundshaie auf die Karte.